Okay, so I feel like every year it gets a little bit harder to figure out what I'm going to put in 10 minutes. And this year, as I'm like listening from the beginning, I think if I had to rename or name this presentation, it would be like, where are we going? So a lot of this in here is where we're going for the community and the consumers. So basically, these are our organizational updates that we've had over the last year. We'll get through most of them. Tim Netler, who was our founding executive director of the board, who was pivotal in the inception and the growth of DBT-LBC, retired last year. And so if you want to read about his legacy, you can scan that and read about his legacy. But he has been and continues to be, and you'll hear in a few minutes, a pillar of just our growth in LBC and in the community, just with his wealth of knowledge and his wisdom. And Christy Gattaca has taken over the executive director role. If anyone has communicated with LBC in any capacity, you've probably received something on the other side from Christy. So we're super excited that she has stepped into that role and is able to maintain a lot of our institutional knowledge that Tim helped. And she's been with us for about 9 years and came with Tim, and Tim brought her on. So she trained underneath Tim and Tim mentored her. So it's been a very smooth transition. So in 2025, we had undergone a strategic planning, which is what we contracted Tim to come back and guide us through the strategic plan. We started with several meetings where we really just looked at our overall plan. We did a SWOT analysis where we determined our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And from that, we developed the plan and some of the goals that we have moving forward. So you'll see sort of the trajectory of those meetings over the course of the year. We updated or honed in, I guess, our vision and mission, where a vision is where a world where DBT is delivered with fidelity, so there is less suffering, more joy, and individuals and their loved ones can build lives worth living. And then our mission of a commitment to increase access to DBT and ensure excellence and adherence to the highest standards for providers and programs. And then our values, in keeping with our DBT acronyms, our core values, we use the acronym of fidelity. I'm not going to read through all of that, but and this took several hours of the board of directors of really honing in and having different iterations of the mission, values, and vision to come up with our final product. And from the strategic plan, from that SWOT analysis, is where we came out of that as 5 major goal areas that we will be focusing on: collaboration and community partnership, incentivizing compensation, education, expansion, and sustainability. So within those goal areas, one area, the education, we are continuing our webinars. This webinar we do have December 5th, which is like next week. So that registration is open. Thanks to Portland DBT for their partnership in this. CEs are available. And then in in 2026, starting in March, this is our lineup that we have so far. So super excited about the lineup that we have set up for 2026. And then we have launched our webinars on our website, our past webinars, so you can access past webinars on our website. Another area that is a part of our where we're going is our international expansion. So I'm excited to announce that we have a French and Spanish speaking clinicians that are going through video coding process, so that if there are clinicians who have clients who don't speak English, that there will be the ability to still code videos in that language. So we're creating a framework for other languages also. And then we're exploring other ways for certification to be more accessible across the globe. We've opened up our testing sites for Pearson VUE testing sites globally. And so we're trying to make high quality DBT accessible internationally. So that's a big area that came out of our strategic plan. And then in the legislative and policy initiatives, I want to back up for a second and for the legislative and thank NEA BPD. So in 2025, we realized that DBT-LBC and NEA BPD have very similar missions in two different spaces. And so we have collaborated throughout the year in essentially on the same mission, but we both have like different arms of that mission. And so it has really yielded a lot of movement because we're looking at it from two different angles. And so I just want to appreciate and thank NEA BPD for their ongoing support and collaboration in these efforts. So these are some of the areas that came out of that. We're collecting the cost effectiveness data for when we contact insurance payers and stakeholders so that we have the archival studies and any current studies that are available for cost effectiveness. We are looking at targeting some states that can model some of the states that are already in place with the model for reimbursement. So that is a big piece because a big piece of the legislation that we're working on is not only access of care, but fair reimbursement, right? And so that both sides are equally important in this legislative effort. So in over a decade in the making, we have and are currently partnering with a large national health plan to develop a comprehensive DBT reimbursement model. So it will be a bundled rate model that will include all modes of DBT, including assessments, so that phone coaching, consultation team, everything will be included in this modeled rate or this bundled rate. And then once this model gets finalized, DBT-LBC will be working with this health plan to identify the programs that meet the criteria to be contracted for a higher reimbursement and for this new structure. That is huge. Yes. And that is, I said this earlier, I really think this needs to be a panel and not me because this is like an effort like Essie Larson, Ed Sheeran, like the amount of effort that goes into the legislative work to get here and Suzanne Witterholt Suzanne Witterholt was on the original call like 12 or 15 years ago. And so it's like came back around full circle. So we finally have a agreement that hopefully will be out in 2026. The next piece of growth and movement is we have just about finished our new knowledge exam. So we currently have one knowledge exam, and that is 10 years old. And so we just went through a job task analysis and working with a psychometrician to create a new exam. And so the new exam, the old exam has 6 domains. The new exam has 18 domains. The material is the same. So it's still the manual, the original text, and that validation article. So none of the material has changed, but we have made it more comprehensive and we have made it more inclusive. We have removed gendered language. We've removed any gendered vignettes or examples that were in there. And so we went through for about the last year and a half, there's a group of us that have met every other week and has either rewritten items or went through the job task analysis. So the dialectic to that, or I guess it's a pro or con, whichever way you look at it, as of March 31st, our current exam will pause and the new exam will be in place on April 1st. The caveat to that is we need 50 applicants to take the exam. And the first 50 applicants will not get their score right away because we need 50 applicants to be able to determine the cut score. So once we have 50 applicants, then we'll work with the psychometrician to determine, is there any major errors in the exam, or is there any major issues in the exam? And if there are, we just re-implement the old exam until we fix them, or once we get those, then we'll identify the cut score, and then those 50 applicants will get their score. So that's the piece of, if you take it after April 1st, you just won't get that automatic pass or fail. And with that, anybody who signs up for the exam at that, we're given a $50 discount, as well as a package of pre-recorded webinars, just as an appreciation for the inconvenience of not having your score right away. And we are, in November was 10 years. So if your name is on here, can you stand up? So these are the clinicians that have been certified for 10 years. The original. So thank you, all of you, for just maintaining the integrity of LBC and everything behind the work that we do. We currently have, somebody told me this slide was not weird. We currently have 553 in 16 countries, and 38 programs. But 550 certified clinicians really isn't a lot when you think about how many people deliver DBT. And so hopefully that number will continue to grow. Here are our committees. If you would like to volunteer or join a committee, you can learn more about all of our committees. You do not have to be a certified clinician for several of our committees, or in some of our committees, you don't even need to be a clinician. And follow us for updates. In our strategic plan, we will have more details that we will put out about it on our socials and through probably a blog. Thank you.